everybody, glad you could join us for another Halloween story time. I just wanted to give you a quick view of our set. If you want to see what the set looks like in detail, go to the first story. So I also wanted to take the time to let you see the outfit that Loretta Macabre made for this episode. It's a one-piece jumpsuit that has candy corn on it, and I think it's just so cute. What do you think about it? And she also made the top hat. I thought it was just wild, and I wanted to wear it with this outfit. So I will be reading you another story tonight. So I will be back in a little bit. See you soon. Bye. Good evening, everybody. So glad you could join us for another story here at Loretta Macabre's channel. This is Halloween story time. We're doing 2 stories a week for the month of October in celebration of Halloween. So I hope you like our little stories. Each story is made up and written by Loretta Macabre. So go get yourself a drink, get some popcorn, and let's enjoy another story together. So this one today is called The Car. Linda was 17, and she had spent her last 3 summer vacations saving up for a car. She had a deal with her parents that if she came up with half the down payment and could afford insurance, they would put the other half of the down and would take care of the monthly car payment. Linda smiled because in 2 days she got paid, and she would have the money needed to go get her car. Freedom, she thought. Saturday rolled around, and Linda and her dad spent half the day looking for a car. Her car was going to be used but nice, and she just couldn't decide. As they broke for lunch, Linda's dad said there was an old car lot up the road. It had been there many years, and that he had bought his first car there. The car he bought was used but very reliable. Linda said, "Let's give it a try. They might still be in business." They looked at each other and smiled. They headed out, and a few minutes later, they were in the sight of the car lot. Linda got an uneasy feeling as they approached. The car lot was old and unkept. There were weeds everywhere, and everything looked so dusty. As Linda's father looked at her, he could see the disappointment on her face. He said, "Hey, kiddo, don't judge a book by its cover." Linda smiled and said, "Sure, Dad." They got out of the car and began to look around. As they wandered, they were met by a short man who was bald, wearing a brown polyester suit. Linda smiled at her thoughts, thinking that she was looking at someone who had just stepped out of the 1970s, and she chuckled. As he approached, with his hand extended, he shook both their hands, asking how he could help them. They explained what they were looking for, and he said, "You know what? I got a car in today. It's parked in the back. It was being inspected and came out with flying colors. Only one owner and almost in pristine condition." Linda's hopes were soon lifted as she saw the car. It was a 1980s Camaro, bright red with 2 doors and black racing stripes. And so shiny, it looked awesome. Right then and there, Linda decided that this was a car of her dreams. They went through all the paperwork, and soon Linda was handed the car keys. They headed home, and Linda told her dad she wanted to go for a ride. Her dad waved and said, "Be careful," and off she went. Linda drove through the countryside and to more open spaces. She didn't invite any friends because she wanted the first moments to be her own. She had worked so hard and missed out on so many things that she decided she deserved this happy moment. As she drove, Linda started to smell a foul odor. It was the smell of sulfur and spoiled milk. It started out faint, but soon grew stronger. She pulled over, got out of the car, thinking it was something dead on the road. But no, nothing, and the air outside smelled fresh and sweet. As she got in the car, the odor was still there, but now it was almost gone. She laughed and thought it was something that she had passed along the road. As she drove back home, the ride was so relaxing and she was so proud of herself for reaching her goal. This gave her so much confidence. She was so deep in thought that when she looked in the rearview mirror, she could have sworn she thought someone sitting in the back seat. She quickly glanced back, startled, but no, nothing there. She looked in the rearview mirror again, no, nothing. She laughed nervously and thought, man, I guess I'm overworked, and the stress of the day had probably gotten to her. Linda got home and told her parents about her drive. She left out the scary incident. It was nothing anyway, right? Linda's night was plagued with nightmares about a boy being hit by a red car and hidden in the cornfield. It looked just like the road she was on yesterday. Weird, she thought. Night after night, Linda kept having the same dream, and it became more vivid. She was getting to the point where she dreaded sleeping. Try as she might, she always fell asleep and always had the same dream. What bothered her the most is that the car in her dreams was her car in every way. She even looked at her car and she saw mysterious dents on the grill and hood. Linda was so stressed. One day she decided to go for a drive. This always relaxed her. As she drove, she saw a cornfield in the distance, just like the one in her dream. And then the smell hit her, spoiled milk and sulfur. She pulled over, and in the back was a young man about 18. His head was bleeding. He was so sad looking. He pointed to the cornfield and cried. Linda was horrified. She screamed and screamed. They say Linda was never the same after that. She never talked anymore. She stayed home in a comatose state, looking out her bedroom window, seeing a bloody boy looking back at her and crying. No one else saw him. No one. The day Linda was traumatized, the car dealer was called to pick up the Camaro. He picked it up himself. He drove a tow truck in order to bring the Camaro back to the lot. He hooked up the car, and then walked over to the cornfield. Then he said, "Nice piece of property. So glad I own it. So glad my secret will never be known. You see, when my son was 18, I bought him this Camaro. He was driving too fast and reckless and hit a boy and killed him. He called me, and together we buried the boy in the cornfield. Then after that, my son became crazy, and he began telling everyone he was guilty of murder. I panicked, and I killed my son in order to save myself. He's buried in that cornfield next to the boy. The next day, I bought this piece of land, went to the police, and reported my son missing. Every lead went cold, and it's been 25 years of hell. My son won't rest, but I can live with that. My secret must be protected. This car is going to the junkyard." As the car was being crushed, the car dealer drove away with relief in his heart. Then suddenly the smell hit him, sulfur and spoiled milk. He looked in the rearview mirror and screamed and screamed. After that, Mr. Smith lived out his days in a psychiatric ward, staring out the window, seeing his bloody son staring back at him, seeing his son forever, seeing something no one else could ever see. And he screamed and screamed. Wow. Wow, so what did you guys think of that story? It was quite creepy, if you ask me. Never wants me to go get a used car ever again. Well, thanks for joining us. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Please share this video. And I hope you have a happy, safe, and happy Halloween. Celebrate the month of October, the most wonderful time of the year. And remember, sleep with your lights on, because you never know who or what followed you home. Good night. See ya.